Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we would be doing seascape painting in two different ways. I know this is one of the subjects that many of you have requested me to paint in my Instagram handle. I just thought to start out today. Go ahead and first tape down your paper. It's a very simple process. Take any kind of washi tape that is available with you. I'm using 100% cotton 300 GSM arches cold pressed paper, and then it is a size that I really like. You can go ahead with any paper size of your choice. There is no rule as such what the paper should be. It should be only the landscape kind of outcome. So go with A5 size, A6 size, whatever you want to use for this painting. That's perfectly fine, as this is not going to be a very difficult one. Hence I would leave it up to you how you want to go about it. I have started with a light graphite marks for my rocks. Once I do add this, then I would go ahead and start adding some amount of my compost blue. Compost blue is from Yellow Mission Gold. You can use any other color of your choice, or else you can also add some amount of white, either it be opaque or any kind of Chinese white, titanium white. You can add on to your turquoise and get a color that is similar to this one. So keep adding this color, and once you are done with this part, I would go ahead and start adding darker values towards the top area. The lighter values is towards the shore area. This is an area view of the seascape painting, and we are going to have two aerial views today. Go ahead with your phthalo turquoise once you are done with the compost blue. The phthalo turquoise color that I have is pretty beautiful, and I have been using this for some time. It is from Senalier. Once I have added the color, I would blend it with my Prussian blue. Prussian blue is a very easily available color. In case you do not have these three kind of colors, go ahead with any blue shade that is available on your palette. You can use cerulean blue or cobalt blue, Prussian blue and Payne's gray. You can go with any three different shades of blue and get something which is similar to this one. I'm using my Naples Yellow now. The Naples Yellow is a very pretty color, and I have been using it for a while. Once I have added the Naples Yellow, I would go ahead and start adding some amount of my brown on top of it. The brown that I would be adding is practically my burnt sienna, and slowly steadily I would keep blending it with my background. I am going pretty slow over here, though at times you might observe that I did fasten up the video a bit. Otherwise it would have practically made it very boring. I am now just blending the color of the sea and picking up some of the colors on my tissue as I did show you. Once I have added the color, I would keep blending these areas, and then I would add some colors onto my rocks. No problem if you are actually blending the colors of the rocks even with your background. Let it dry. Once it has dried out, we need to add some amount of shadows to these rocks. So go ahead and add the shadows. I love to blend it and have that soft look, so I would add the shadows and then blend it again. That's how I go about it. Towards the right, I would again add some of my darker values. I am using Indigo, my burnt sienna, as well as my Vandyke Brown to get these shades of the shadow. In case you have Vandyke Brown and your burnt sienna, that's absolutely fine. Go ahead and use that for completing these areas. Keep blending wherever it is necessary, and let this area dry off completely. Once you have a dried paper, go ahead and start adding some lines towards the top area of the rocks. I am more experienced, and hence the paper is not that dry. Still, I went ahead with the darker shades of the rocks. I'm making some straight lines, and that's it. I am blending it with the background a bit. This is just to show that the rocks are steep and they have these shadows on top of that. Usually they have those curves, and those curves can be only shown better with the help of the shadow. Go ahead and just add a bit of water that is splattering your water in the background on top of the sand that you did already paint, and then use some white gouache to make these waves. Now these waves are very easy to paint, so just use any size 2 brush to add it, and then use a dry brush technique to blend it with the background. That's all we will do for this background. Once this background is done, we will go ahead and start adding some of our textures on the beach area, that is practically the sand. In case you want to pick up the colors even now, go ahead and do it. There is no hard and fast rule that you cannot do or pick up the colors now. Once this part is done, let it dry. We will add some of the shadows for our sea part later on. The waves will have some shadows and that needs to be shown. Before that, go ahead and paint a boat. How do we paint a boat? We need to mask this boat before we even paint it. So I'm using a very thin masking tape and then I'm drawing that boat. Once I have done it, I am going with my scissors to cut it out and then paste it. I have even added a green layer towards the bottom area. Now this green layer is basically nothing else than the greenery which you see when you are going towards any place like Kerala. They have the green, beautiful greenery of the coconut trees and then some other bushes, plants, etc. That's how we go about it. We start with compost blue. Towards the top, I have added phthalo turquoise, and towards the bottom, I am going ahead and adding some amount of my Prussian blue. Once I have added the Prussian blue, I would try to blend it with the background and then add some amount of indigo. This indigo that I am adding towards the bottom area is basically the shadows that you see appearing because of the trees that are there. Just add some dry brush technique even to the shoreline towards the left part of your painting. That is the first one, and then splatter some amount of your brown color. This is just to show the texture, as I did tell you earlier. I am picking up any extra color which I did splatter towards the top area of my foam from the ocean waves, and then I would go ahead and start adding some green color towards the right side of the painting. This is basically the bushes that we have, and once these bushes are done with a flat wash of my vibrant green that I am using, this is a brilliant yellow green from my Sennelier color, and you can go ahead with this green or May green from even your Shemenke. Even you can mix some of your yellow with your green and get a color which is similar to this. Start adding some amount of your green to the background. Now the background is wet, because of which you will get some amount of blending and bleeds, so it is easy right now to add any colors. I'm going ahead and using some of my indigo and mixing it with my sap green to get a darker shade, and then adding these small areas which will look like forest. Once it is done, just remove the tape that you did add while you were actually working on the boat area. Let's have a closer look of how we can paint our boat now. I'm adding a very light wash of brown initially. Once I am done with this light wash, I would go ahead and start adding some darker values. It's always good in watercolors to go ahead with the lighter values initially and then add the darker values like Vandyke Brown or any other shade that you would like to add. I am leaving some space a bit more in white, and that's only because I want some of the areas to look more like it is from the top and it has that cruise effect and all. Adding the shadow of the boat towards the right. Once I have added the shadow, I would go ahead and add the shadow even for the left side of the painting. You see how easily I have added the shadow towards the left, and that is majorly the foam of the Seascape that we have attempted in the first go. Once this is done, let your paper dry off completely and then just remove the tape at an angle. Since I have used my washi tape, so it is easier for me to remove the tape. If you are using any kind of masking tape, try to blow some hot air towards the edges from which you want to actually take off the tape or peel off your tape. You are done now. In case you want to watch any more or learn from me any further subjects, do let me know. I give my real-time tutorials on Patreon, and this month is majorly with florals. So go ahead and check out my real-time videos on Patreon and do support me on Patreon. It really helps me to bring good content to you on various other platforms. I am cutting this into 2 equal halves and then I would just have a final look at both the paintings. Please do subscribe to the channel so that you are updated about the new releases.